Good morning and welcome back to Jody Lewis Creations. It is time for our Christmas in July series. I think that it's really interesting trying to wrap my head around Christmas when it's 80 some degrees outside. But I'm really excited and I'm very grateful to Teri for inviting me to be a part of the collaboration. So I want to start out by saying thank you to Teri for inviting me. I really appreciate it and I'm looking forward to getting the Christmas journal made. Okay, so I have here my little golden book. It is The Night Before Christmas. It is a 1949 edition, and I chose this one because it's December of 1822 as the calendar page in this, and I thought, well, that is perfect since it's 2022, so I chose this over the reindeer-themed little golden book that I was going to do. As you can see, I've already taken my staples out, and I have the two signatures here. Now, I didn't do this on film because I've done this before, so if you are new to Little Golden Book altering and you're not sure how to take them apart, please go back to my Winnie the Pooh series where I really go over it and really talk to you about tools and how to get it apart, how to get the foil off. This one, I couldn't get the foil off in one piece. It's just a very, very old book and it didn't want to cooperate with me, which is completely fine. But I just love the color of the pages in this, so I'm really happy to be able to use it. It's actually a book I've been hoarding because I love it so much. So in conjunction with these pages, you can see all these wonderful colors, very traditional Christmas colors. And so I have here a graphic 45 pad, and yes, I'm doing graphic 45 back to back. No, I'm not an ambassador, but graphic 45, you can totally let me be an ambassador for you. I would love it. This is the Let It Snow series. I have the 12 by 12. I have the patterns and solids. I've got some ephemera bits. I bought the collection. It was a big splurge, but I absolutely love this collection. It's beautiful. It's all the traditional colors. And when you look at it beside the pages of this book, I just think it's beautiful. But it's got the birds, it's got poinsettias, it's got Santa, it's got a bunny in it. So if you guys know me, you know that I love this. I mean, look at this picture. Is that cool? And it's even got an owl. I mean, look at that. Anyway, I love it. So you'll see this collection as we work in the book, obviously. Also, I have here some Christmas ephemera pieces I got from a dear friend of mine in a swap at Christmas last year. I have this Anna Griffin favorite Christmas embellishments that we'll be able to use to embellish some of the pages. I also have these little, I don't even know what these are called, but anyway, we're going to use those because I've been hoarding those as well. What do we have? We have some Christmas music here, and I have to go up in the attic and dig through the Christmas box and actually pull out pages so that I can create some signatures here. So kind of my goal in this series is obviously to get the journal made. I'm on the fence. I'm actually thinking about doing something a little bit different with this, so I have to kind of wrap my thoughts around that. We are going to use the covers, you know, I'm going to keep the covers with it, but like the back of that, I really don't care about that, so we may end up covering the back of this. We'll see. I'm not sure yet, but anyway, so I was thinking, okay, I'll tell you what my thoughts are. I'm thinking about maybe making this like a trifold, where in the middle here, we've got some interactive activities where this will flip in and this will flip in. I'm not sure yet. I'm wrapping my head around it. So I'm gonna go get some, like I said, I'm gonna dig around up in the attic. I am not carrying all of my Christmas stuff down. If you guys watched the Christmas videos last year where I did the 3 little golden books in December, you know that it would be an immense undertaking to carry that stuff down, and my mother-in-law's coming to visit soon, so I don't want to have the Christmas stuff all over the guest room again. So I will go run upstairs, I'll come back, we'll work on gathering our signature pages, and I think we're going to do something different with this. I'm wrapping my head around it. It's an idea that literally just came to me as I'm talking to you and thinking through what I'm going to do. Because I don't want it to be repeat of what we did last year. So let's try something new and hope I don't mess it up. You know what? I decided we're just gonna go for it. I didn't even go up to the attic yet, but we're gonna go for it. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm nervous. That's okay. Okay, so we are going to make this some kind of a folding contraption. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I have to number these pages, so I'm just going to set these aside before we do anything. And if you have watched my series, you know that I take pencil and I number these pages because it's very important to me that the story stays in order. So again, you can go back and look at my other little golden book videos and you'll see how I do that. Okay, so here is my thought. I want to have these fold in on themselves. Now these should be about 8 inches tall. If I'm shaking you, I apologize. You know, I'm getting in my long drawer to get my ruler. Okay, so they're just under 8 inches, and life would be so much simpler for me if these were at 8 inches, but you can see it's like at 7 and 15/16, which is kind of annoying, but that's okay. I'm just going to cut this back at, actually it should be 7 and 7/8. It's kind of like in between, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this with a pencil. Oh my gosh, I'm like nervous and so excited because I have no idea where I'm going with this. Well, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I'm sure that's helpful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm marking this at my 7 and 15/16 basically is what I'm marking it as at. Oh, and we need the cork-backed ruler because remember, it's super important that you use a ruler that does not shift on you because we don't want anybody to get injured. And so I'm going to cut this. So let me get this cut. I'm just using my utility knife, my cork-back ruler, and let me think my way through this, and then I will come back and tell you what I'm doing. I'm still thinking my way through this, and hopefully I'm going to be able to communicate my thoughts with you. I switched gears, and I just went and raided the recycle and took a cereal box. And so I had cut the piece of chipboard wherever I set that, and I cut it the exact size, and for what I'm thinking, I don't think that's gonna work, but I'm not throwing this away. Never, ever, ever throw your chipboard away. We'll use that for something else. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of doing a trifold, right? So I cut the cereal box to the height of the book, and I just cut the entire width of the cereal box. And the reason is that I want to have lots of options. I don't want to have this cut down. So this small flap I'm going to leave here, and that's what I'm going to glue to the inside. So this is going to open like so. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So that'll be attached here. Okay, that's going to be attached there. And then we need to make our spine for our first signature. So our first signature is going to be sewn in here, okay? And I don't think I'm going to go huge, but my this spine has to be larger than this spine because I need to have room for this to fold over the top. So, so I think, and I don't want this to be, yes, I know as I say this, I don't want this to be a super fat journal. Yes, I'm laughing at myself because for those of you who know me, you know that that's a nearly impossible thing for me to build a skinny journal. So this is just my Dollar Tree little, I don't know what you call it, embossing tool. So on this front spine, honestly, I'm going to go 1.25 inches. That should be big enough. Let's hope. Oops. Well, I think I'm going to go 1.25 inches. Let's just, okay. So I'm going to go 1.25 inches here. That is like following, I don't know what that's doing. Maybe I'm just not pressing firm enough on it because I don't want to break it. Okay, so 1.25 inches here, okay? So now that's going to fold up and be like our upper spine, see? So we're kind of building like this, all right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over a little bit wider than the width of this. So see, this is like at 6 3/4. So I'm gonna come over to 7 inches, I think. And I want to score this because then that's going to allow, I'm thinking my way through this, so please don't give me a thumbs down or be negative because I'm thinking my way as we're doing this. So now that's going to fold up this way, okay? So that's going to be the beginning of the spine for the back cover. So I did this one at 1 1/4 inches. So now this one I'm going to do at 1 inch. I'm just going to make it slightly smaller because it needs to tuck inside. It'll make sense. As we go through this, it's going to make a lot more sense, okay? So now that, I need to leave a little bit of a flap here because this is going to basically build that back piece that I wanted. So now we've created our back piece that we want, okay? And so we're ignoring these factory folds, and as we reinforce this, then it's not going to be an issue. It's going to be okay. So how wide is this flap-ish? About 1 inch. So let's come from that mark here and come over about 1 inch, and then we're going to cut that off. Okay, so 1 inch and 1 inch, and again using the cork back ruler, I'm going to cut that off. So let me get that cut. Okay, so hopefully this is going to make sense. It should. So we'll have our front of our book is going to be attached to this flap. Okay, so this small flap, and I angled my corners here. Because then that'll be easier to hide that box on the back of this. This is going to do 2 things. It's going to stabilize this original spine of the cover, and we'll talk about that. So this is going to flip open like this. This one is going to attach to here, and it'll flip open. And I did that 1/4 inch, so these will tuck inside one another, okay? Oh, that's what he was saying. Oh, hang on. I may have messed up. I may have messed up, and I will tell you why. Because the journals have to, okay. The journals have to fit on these edges. So if this is going to be attached here, this is not going to work. Well, goodness, that was a little challenging. But I just want you to know that it's okay. And if you make a mistake, this is why it's really important to me to use like recycled items. Thank goodness Mark hadn't gone to recycle yet to dump our bin. So here's what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping this is going to work. If it doesn't work, remember, it's only paper, even though this is a book that I really want to use. So I'm going to build my signatures before I do any gluing, okay? Because I'm still going to have to make sure this is going to work once I lay the signatures in here. So the adjustment that I made, I cut a new box, as you can see. So my back piece is 7 1/8 inch, okay? That is the 6 5/8 of the size of the actual covers plus a 1/2 inch. That's going to allow my 1 inch spine for the back signature, okay? This spine I did 2 inches, so that's going to allow that first 1 inch for the back to fold in first, and then the top is going to fold over and allow 1 inch for that signature. And then I think everything should tuck together and be kind of nice, and it's still only a 2 inch journal. I say only, because my stuff tends to end up being 2.5, 3 inches if I'm not careful. Okay, so I think it's gonna work, and I'm gonna go with it. I'm really excited. I'm gonna have to make it work. Now on this one, I really do wanna do a hidden spine on both of these. So that's something I need to make sure that I remember to do. So I was gonna do hidden spine on the fairy journal and spaced. So I think this is going to be fun. I haven't done this before. And then what I want to do on the back here is just do maybe a row of pockets or a flip up. I'm not sure, but this is where we're going with it. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Like I said, I'm not necessarily sure that I'm wanting to glue this to these covers yet, but I need to have faith in myself, and maybe I am going to. And the reason I say that is because this is going to work. I'm not worried. It's going to work. And if I make myself go ahead and glue it, then I'm limiting myself to how fat I make this journal. So we're going to do it. But I want to figure out what I'm going to cover this with. Now this is a shiny surface, so I am going to take a sanding block to this and knock off that shiny surface to make sure that my glue is going to stick. Shiny surfaces can be challenging, so just be mindful of that. Just take a piece of sandpaper. If you don't have sandpaper, take it out on your concrete pad and just scooch it real hard and just scuff that shiny. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to cover this with, at least get some bases done, and get my front and back glued on. And I am going to glue that to the inside for sure. Yeah, because then when I put some fabric on here, or trim or whatever, it's going to cover that. It's going to come together. You're going to see. If you are going to use your sandpaper, sanding block, I have a sanding block, it makes a mess. So please make sure that you're aware of the space in which you're doing this. Do not do this somewhere that you don't want to get this dust everywhere, okay? Because you can see there's quite a bit that I took off of the cover. So I'm going to just kind of pick up what I can, and then I'll take a damp paper towel and clean the rest of that up. I do have, so you can see the difference in the cover. Yes, it's still reflecting light, but now I've taken a good majority of that shiny surface off. Now, this is, I mean, it's stable. I use cereal boxes a lot to make my spines and covers and stuff. And, which we're going to talk, I am going to do a video on how to make your covers with materials that you have on hand. This is just one example of using a cereal box to add another dimension to the journal. I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to try something different. I haven't done this. I am doing it on the fly. So anyway, yeah. Hang on. You can see I've got lots of dust on my baby wipe here. That's just wiping my surface. And then I forgot to tell you, get the dust off of your cover as well. You don't want any dust interfering with your glue, because the whole point of this is so that our stuff will stick, right? So get that wiped off. And yes, it looks like a hot mess. And yes, this is definitely an experiment. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I just wanted to try something new, and I'm bringing you along on the journey with me. So I'm going to figure out my papers, get them cut, and at least get this started with some paper so that I can kind of get a feel for where I'm going to go with this. And that way I can get this glued and set it aside to dry. And once I get my papers cut and kind of down to size, I'll be back. I'm going to do the outside first. And I think I am going to use my, ooh, hello, avalanche. I just knocked my big ink pad down. I apologize. I'm sure that was loud. Okay, so I'm going to use my PVA glue because I want to make sure we don't have any issue with the paper sticking, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, I'm really getting excited. I have a piece of paper picked out here. This is from the Let It Snow 12 by 12 Patterns and Solids, and I have just cut it down to the height of my back cover. And it's not quite as wide, but that is okay. And the reason it's okay is because, you know, that's gonna be glued under there. So we're not gonna see this little bit, but I am allowing it to go over those folds because that's just gonna help stabilize. So I'm gonna get this glued down, and then I'm going to not touch it. I have to let it dry. And I'm going to then be able to rescore on the lines that I actually want, and it'll help stabilize this factory score that we're not using. So hopefully that makes sense. This is the Line Co PVA glue. Again, use what you have. Do not use glue stick. Glue stick is not going to be strong enough to hold this. You guys know I like this glue. It's my go-to for the bookbinding stuff and the stuff that I know I want to hold really well. You could use your 3-in-1, you can use your Fabri-Tac. I would assume the Aleene's tacky glue would hold. You just don't want to use a glue stick. I mean, I know that a lot of people put a lot of faith in glue sticks. I don't. In my experience, there are just certain things that glue sticks are not good for, and this is one of them. So you do what you're comfortable with. You do what you sorry, my son just texted me and I got distracted. I apologize because I have my iPad sitting here too. My phone won't ding, but my iPad will. So again, I apologize. Anyway, so use the glue that you're comfortable with, and then, you know, it's a personal preference. It really is. There's nobody to tell you. Well, I just told you don't use glue sticks, so that's kind of a silly statement, but that's just speaking from personal experience and me just sharing with you that glue stick is not strong enough for this. So I'm just going to continue gluing. It's like watching paint dry, I'm sure, to watch me glue this. And I will come back when this is dry and trimmed and rescored, and then see, you'll see what we have. And again, I try to keep the videos at about 30 minutes. If you're a new subscriber, I do want to say thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. And for those of you who are my returning subscribers, you know how much I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much. Kind comments are always welcome. I really appreciate kind comments. And I appreciate thumbs up. I appreciate likes. I did get my first dislike on one of the fairy videos, and I was like, why? But at least I didn't get a negative comment. So I'll just say that that's my first one. And, you know, I guess I'm not doing too bad if that's my first one, right? And I know I told you guys I wasn't going to keep doing this, but I'm just yabbering and gluing. All right, so we want to make sure that this is lined up how we want it, which is also a benefit of using the PVA glue. It does hold pretty quickly. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to fuss with it, but you do have a minute or two. Cover that so it doesn't get. And I'm just gonna take my card here and really go over it and make sure that we have a good adherence. And we may need to add a little more glue around the corners. We'll see that in a minute. Okay, so I have the front cover on, and I cut this down to 3/4. So if you're following along or you're attempting this yourself, I did cut these flaps down to 3/4. I thought 1 inch was just too much overhang into, like, I love this, and so I didn't want to completely cover this. Now, if you have a front cover that's been written on or doodled on, or you plan on covering it anyway, then the 1 inch is fine. Do whatever you feel like, but you want to make sure that whatever is enough to stabilize this spine. And now, right now, it's still a little loosey-goosey, but my glue is wet. Oh my gosh, my glue is wet. My glue is still wet. And then I started to glue this one on, and then I thought, you know, I'm not crazy. None of this says Christmas to me, excuse me. None of this says Christmas to me, so I actually think I'm going to end up covering this back cover with some of the paper. So it's still going to get glued on here and still be like our back cover, but or our flap cover, whatever. I don't know what we're going to call it yet. But anyway, so that's a thought. I have to kind of think about that. I have to go outside and do some things before it gets too hot today. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm actually going to set a book on this. Just a good heavy book, because I really want to make sure that that dries how I want it to dry. I'm gonna leave this here. In the description box below, you're gonna see a lot of information that I don't typically have in my videos. However, it is going to be the hashtag Christmas in July 2022, I believe is what it is. And you're going to see a list of the other YouTubers who are participating in this collaboration. So while you're checking my video out, please make sure you go check their video out as well and support the other YouTubers who are participating in this collaboration. So I'm excited to see what they're doing too. I haven't watched any yet. I'm kind of behind the ball. I know one of the gals already has all of her videos filmed, and I'm like, huh, here I am on the first, filming my first video. Okay, I did forget to tell you that I cut another, I think I forgot to tell you. Maybe I didn't. This could be repeat. I don't remember. I'm sorry if it's repeat. I did cut a 2-inch and 1-inch strip to put in those spines to help stabilize them. So, I'm doing that because I want it to feel a little stronger. If you do that, you may want to cut it just a smidge under the 2-inch, 1-inch marks just to make sure that that's not binding in that seam or in that spine. Anyway, stop saying that's it for this video, guys. I'm gonna go get this uploading, go do what I need to do. I really want to make sure this is good and dry before we do anything, and then I have to get a game plan for what we're gonna do next, because clearly I am just winging this because I just took a whole different spin in the middle of starting to film this video. So thanks for your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.